I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask for a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. I want to welcome everybody that's here today and everybody that will be viewing us or seeing us down the line. I'm start with the roll call. Today I'm going to start with Commissioner Doug Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Stieben.
Here.
Mr. Jeff CULBERTSON.
Here.
Mr. VICKY KAAZ.
Here.
And Mike Smith here. I don't believe there's any public comment. Seeing any. That being said, I'll go to administrative business. Mark, did you have something?
Commissioners, I did have one item. Apparently, I know I've spoken to a few of you about this, but I've failed to put anything in your inbox about it, and that is that the mayor of Basehor, they're having a service reception for him tonight at 4:30. I'm certain that all of you were invited, and it's at the Falcon Lakes.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Okay.
We'll all attend, and
I'm attending.
So there's two of us. So if anybody else, we'll just have to ignore one another.
That's not hard.
Okay.
We've done that on occasion.
Two commissioners will be there representing the commission.
That's right.
Somebody had to say it.
Yeah. Leave it to the quiet one, right? Okay. Any commissioner have anything they want to bring up before we move on? Okay, if not, I'll go to consent agenda. Anything needs to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Motion is second. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stieben?
Aye.
Mr. CULBERTSON?
Aye.
Mr. KAAZ?
Aye.
And aye for me. Formal board action. Consider a motion to accept a proposal from Travelers Insurance for 2022. Mike, you want to come on up? Morning, Mike.
You can sit there by.
Yeah,
Sure.
get comfortable.
Not too.
Not too comfortable. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, thank you for your time this morning. We are proposing to actually move the county's insurance program this year for 1/1 from One Beacon intact to Travelers. It's been a long history with our brokerage firm in the county, and over that time, we've actually had some very long relationships with our carriers, which is a good thing in my opinion. Travelers was a carrier that we had for the county for about 10 or 11 years, and at that point in time, it made sense simply because of some business decisions they made in pricing to switch to One Beacon / intact insurance, and they've been a great partner of the county's, I think, for about 6 or 7 years. But as insurance does ebb and flow, and insurance companies ebb and flow, Travelers has re-entered the marketplace in a pretty aggressive way, which was timely in the sense that Intact is now going through some issues with their book of business. And we did actually receive a non-renewal notice from them, although we did negotiate an actual renewal with them after that notice came out. They just sent it out as a precautionary tale, so to speak. Having said that, when we received Travelers' renewal quote, it was evident that Intact One Beacon was not going to be able to compete. So with that, we are proposing a change to Travelers Insurance at a savings of about $173 from year over year. I'm sorry, excuse me, $173,000.
Let's add some zeros there, Mike. I read that earlier.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. So yeah, a significant savings, and quite frankly, taking no real step back from a coverage perspective and certainly not a step back from a carrier perspective. Travelers Insurance, obviously one of the largest in the country, largest in the world, and a very professional expert when it comes to insuring public entities, not only cities, counties, but also school districts. We are making a couple changes in deductibles that are not hugely significant, but a little significant that I wanted to mention. And again, this was part of Travelers' decision about 6 or 7 years ago. They really started moving deductibles up much higher, quite frankly, on public entities, simply to have a little more skin in the game. They have rethought that, but for our property, the wind and hail deductible, which might be significant today, it sounds like, but this coverage doesn't start till 1/1. We're taking that deductible from $25,000 to $50,000, and that is the lowest that Travelers would offer at this point in time. There's another slight deductible increase on our employment practices liability. That's going from $10,000 to $25,000. So those two deductibles are really the only change in coverage form. Travelers actually has some throw-in coverages that are a little bit more aggressive than One Beacon Intact, simply because they've been in this game for a long time. But again, those are fairly insignificant coverages. Janet and her staff and Mark and his staff do a great job of keeping us in the loop, and we've reviewed the proposal. It is extremely comprehensive. Obviously, if you can imagine, we're insuring all the property, all of the equipment, all of the autos, to include all your towers and everything throughout the county. And then all of the liability pieces associated with the county as well. Your public entity liability, your general liability, employment practices liability, law enforcement liability being a big one, and all of your autos and everything associated with a comprehensive package. So it is very comprehensive. It's all inclusive, and I think Travelers is going to be a great partner, hopefully, for the next many years of the county.
Mike, I think there's only a few companies that offer it for a county of size. And I know in Lansing we use Travelers, and it goes back and forth. You're exactly right. And I understand with them wanting to have us more skin in the game, but I'd like to say in the last year and a half, lawsuits and things like that, we've got our this body up here, and Mark, and the elected officials have got their hands wrapped around that. And with that, you also go with the usage. So, say in a year or two or however, if we control that and make the, what we have to pay, what they have to pay out, then they'll probably even be more favorably. But this, after some of the things that we've got hit on the last few years, to me, to save that money with those extra zeros, Mike,
that's right.
It looks good. And I've reviewed a lot of these over the years, and of course I've dealt with you, disclose that on many of these companies out there, but Travelers is a good company too.
Yeah.
And Commissioners, if I might, I'd like to thank Mike and his staff for the work they put in on this, because even before we received the non-renewal letter from One Beacon, they were already working on this, looking at options, and they were able to negotiate a pretty good renewal, as you can see. And I think that also was reflected when we did our health insurance. You saw where we thought we might be taking a pretty significant increase, and they were able to actually negotiate a decrease. So, and I say that because some people question the use of brokers and when you can go to these insurance companies and they do this, but just this year alone, the Riley firm has saved the county around $300,000, I think, maybe a little more than that.
Right.
So I just think that's important, and I wanted to, again, take that opportunity. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
I agree, Mike, and going to, I think you also should, you go to the experts that do it. That's why we have other elected officials and recommending and things like that. You do that, but to save that much in these times is I was impressed when I saw it first come out. So thanks for working so hard for us, Mike and Mark and all the staff. Mike, do you have something?
Quick question. Like we're involved in a lawsuit. Is it still like One Beacon? We had the $10,000 deductible. Is that where we're at on this?
It really depends on what type of claim you're talking about.
Let's say, for instance, the sand pit. If there was a large entity such as that.
So your public entity liability deductible is not going to be any difference. That's correct. You are picking up, let me get to the right page here. You're picking up the first $5,000 of that particular claim.
Okay.
If it came under a public official liability.
Okay, and what happens with pre-existing, like we have this lawsuit under One Beacon, and now we're changing insurances? Does that?
Great question. So up until January 1st, everything that happens at the county is covered by One Beacon, and any claims over the past year or 6 years that arise from those policies will still be covered and handled by One Beacon. Travelers will start with 1/1, anything going forward.
Okay, so
we'll still be involved. Our claims team, certainly One Beacon. We still have a book of business with One Beacon. So from our perspective, we're not, it's not like we no longer have a relationship with them. So we'll be able to work those claims and usher those claims with David and with staff and whoever's representing the county.
So the appeals, going to the appeals court, is still going to be held by
That's correct.
One Beacon. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions?
Just noticed the Lansing 4-H building's still on here, and we don't own that anymore.
There were
I saw that.
There were a couple changes that we made when Mark
okay.
and Janet and I met, and
Yeah.
we just sent those on without making the changes. So
I
we've
thought
already
I'd missed
corrected
something on
that.
that.
We've already taken those off. Some of
Good catch, Doug.
the locations we're always tweaking. The limits haven't changed, but the locations are always a moving target. So we have corrected that and cleaned that up.
And then back to using a broker on health care. You remember when we used to do that? The Personal Advisory Committee used to do that?
Yep.
Health insurance?
Yep.
We were out of our league.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate the use of a broker.
Yeah. Anything else, Doug?
No, sir.
Vicky? Jeff, you got anything on it? No. If that's the case, then I'll take a motion.
I move that we consider accepting the proposal from Travelers Insurance for the 2022 year.
I'll second it.
Motion second. Any discussion? Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
Mr. KAAZ?
Aye.
And I here. All right, we're good to go. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank everybody involved in that. Because I was concerned when a few months ago. All righty. Presentation discussions. Discussion changes to the fee schedule for Senior Express Transportation. Good morning again. Good to see you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I was hoping we could open a discussion today about the fee schedule for our Senior Express Transportation that we run through the Council on Aging. I prepared a packet for you so you could see that. We have spent a good part of the last year analyzing prices of other local entities as well as alternate entities for transportation and looking at a way to simplify our fee structure. We currently have about 17 different fees for transportation depending on where you originate and where you are going. We're hoping to simplify that. It's hard to publish 17 different fees without causing confusion. So we're hoping to entertain some discussion today to get down to a much more simplified fee structure. We're proposing 3 fees that would make it a $2.50 trip anywhere in the county. Right now, if you're in Leavenworth, Lansing, it's $2. If you come from Basehor to Leavenworth, it's $4, or from Tonganoxie to Leavenworth, where most of the shopping is, it's a much higher fee. But about 80% of our trips are within Leavenworth and Lansing right now. And then we charge right now $5 one way to the parallel corridor, which would include Providence Medical Center as well as the Legends plazas. And then we charge $10 one way, anywhere 50 miles within a 50-mile radius of Leavenworth for medical trips only. And so we're proposing a $10 fee to the parallel corridor and a $20 fee one way. And then I showed you in your packet just some various prices of what those other entities are and what other local county agencies or area agencies on aging are paying for those. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on those fees.
Commissioners?
I just have one. Like, if this works a hardship on someone and they bring it to your attention, I'm sure you have ways to.
Absolutely. It's another one of the perks of being in this county, the generosity of the community. We have, especially now at Christmas time, folks who are getting sponsored for transportation. So if there's ever a hardship, we have those where someone from the community has offered to pay for transportation for folks. We've seen about an 80% increase in the number of medical type trips for 5 days a week for chemotherapy for 6 weeks, or stroke rehabilitation.
Yeah.
We're taking someone now 8 weeks, 5 days a week, and so we'll cap that at about $100 at $100 for any one person in 1 week. That would be five trips in at the older fee, just to make sure that we can manage those costs for folks, because there just isn't that type of service here in the county.
Thank you.
Any other? I got to say, and I always say it, I told you that party of the thing we had yesterday for the American Legion. Your staff and the things y'all do, and the gear you've kicked it up a couple of notches, it's just been amazing to me. So, I say it to you a lot. But I just want you to know I mean it. And I thank the county commissioner what you're doing out there. And then I see some of the Facebook things where we're adopting, the stuff like that. That's just good stuff. That's just good stuff. So I appreciate it. I don't have anything on the mounts. Does anyone else?
No, any question can be answered if you read it.
Yeah.
I mean,
very detailed.
It's loaded with information.
Jeff?
This might be a good time for a plug. We're planning on a benefit concert for Council on Aging in the spring at Haymarket Square. Have a couple bands play. Have a food vendor truck set up.
Good deal.
So,
Are you going to be this good? Tough to
Yeah, we've done it now.
Already done it.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the weather to break.
Yeah,
So.
we're looking forward to it. We got to get those Santas out the door for the next 4 or 5 days, and then we'll be able to think about that. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Great. So I guess Mark just be coming back to us, or do you need?
No, this is something that Connie.
That she can handle within.
I just wanted to make sure that y'all had a
Oh,
chance to discuss
okay.
it first before any changes
Okay.
were made. Since we were plugging that, good opportunity to let them know how many stockings are being delivered by your Santas.
So we had 261 folks who were sponsored by various veteran organizations or church organizations, and then 450 stockings that are being delivered through meal routes and alternate routes. But we have 5 staff members and volunteers who dress as pretty solid Santas. If you have a chance to check that out on Facebook.
I saw that's exactly what I was thinking about, Mark. When I saw that and how many the numbers, that's great. That's great.
We thought Christmas last year was overwhelming, but we've more than doubled the donations and gifts and things we've received this year. So pretty incredible.
Yeah, good people in Loveland County wanting to
Yes,
help out. That's
absolutely.
great.
Just can't wait for the new facility to be done.
Yep.
You and me both.
We were talking about that the other night too.
We'll be glad for the extra
Great
room.
things.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you and your staff for everything you do.
Absolutely.
It doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I have the discussion regarding county commission redistrict maps. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, we started our discussion last week, and we did come up with some other maps that Bill has put on the board or hung on the wall there. Once again, I feel that it is my responsibility in looking at census numbers and commission districts to kind of say what our recommendation is, and really it's between 2 maps there, and I hate to say a lot because I think actually both of these maps are very good. The first one is the map that we discussed last week in bringing Alexandria Township into the 5th district. That would be the major change. One city precinct in Leavenworth would be moving to the 1st district out of the 2nd district because of the way the growth occurred over the last 10 years. The second map we came up with was due in part to a lot of the discussion that Commissioner Culbertson brought up. And what the major difference here on this map is moving Alexandria Township up into the 1st District and moving, this would be Walnut Stranger Precinct down here into the 5th District. Now, I don't know if you can see these numbers. Bill and his staff did put what the census numbers showed for 2020 on both of these maps. David last week, which he certainly can refresh, is some of the statutory mandates that you have. So, you know, we're kind of up to discussion here. There are 2 other maps. I don't see that they're as feasible as these 2 maps. I can have discussion on them if you want. One of it is moving High Prairie into the 3rd District, which currently is Doug Smith, and one of them doing that. I don't know that it makes a lot of sense there. Another one is moving Delaware Township. It's taking away Walnut Stranger from the 3rd District. And in order to even out the numbers, moving Delaware Township from the 4th District into the 3rd District. Bill and I are both here for any sort of questions that you have.
Moving Delaware takes any rule away from Mike Smith's district.
Yeah.
That is.
And I don't think that's even an option because we are county commissioners. We need rule.
That's a good point. And I think that other map, the 2nd District would only be in the city, the 4th map.
That's why I did not even feel that they were.
But the numbers look good.
Yeah, the numbers look good, but I have had discussions with each of you on the exact topic that Doug brought up, that it's rather important, being that you are a county commissioner, to have some representation outside of the city limits of Leavenworth.
Yeah, when Clyde Graber was there, he was only in the city. I think his last term.
You know, which then leads us back to.
But that was 3 commissioners then.
He had Lansing too, part of it. Hey, let me ask you, maybe I just can't see it. On the first page and the second page in my district, the numbers there, where is the area that's increasing? Maybe I can't see it. You got 13,339 to 14,400.
Well, because you're picking up another precinct in Leavenworth City, Mike.
Okay.
You're picking up the.
Oh, I see the mark now. Okay, I missed it. I'm sorry. Should have my glass on. I see it right now.
One additional precinct, which
That's fine.
Has the continuity of the other precincts in Leavenworth City that you currently represent.
Yeah, I just couldn't see it on the map. Okay, thank you.
What precinct was that?
That was the 3rd precinct, 6th ward, and we used that, just to even out the numbers.
And that's not the same precinct that was going to change in the first map, right?
No, it isn't. That
No,
was the
yeah.
2nd precinct.
I just couldn't see that mark on it. Jeff. Oh. Okay, commissioners, what do you think?
Well, I like the second map because I think you had, in the 10 years to come, 3,000 people to Doug's district's going to end up being the smallest district of all of them eventually.
So we got to go by the census that we have right now.
The current one, right.
Current census.
Right. I get that.
Now, is there not a law or a rule that we could, in 3 years, if there's a significant
Yeah.
increase in population in, say, Tonganoxie because the industrial park imploded and people are moving there?
Absolutely. Each year, when the board reorganizes, there is the opportunity from estimates that come in, which I think I talked a little bit about last week, estimates that come in that give the board the opportunity to redistrict. We've had, for instance, the city of Lansing during the last 10 years. They did some redistricting, if Mike remembers, without the new official census numbers, but there was such a diverse difference in the numbers in Lansing Ward 1 and the others that they did take that opportunity.
Well,
so that
annexation-
is available for the board in the future.
The annexation, a couple of things years ago played into it. The numbers, you're right, they were way off the board, so we had to go back and relook at that.
That's exactly right.
The only thing I would say about that is, once we get this map set, people will be knowing who their county commissioner is and knowing where they live and that kind of thing. I don't think you'll want to change it every.
Well, I'm just
You
saying
know,
if there was a
big change,
Yeah, big
yeah.
change.
It's
I
an
didn't
option.
say, hey, let's just do it in 3 years.
If-
No,
yeah.
there'd have to be a really good reason to do it.
But the option's
Yeah.
out there. David?
Commissioners, your legal obligation under the U.S. Constitution of the State of Kansas, and Kansas statutes is ongoing. If you became aware of significant population changes that threw the balance out of commissioner districts, you have the obligation to act at that time. Minute differences generally don't warrant such action, but if such population changes were to occur within the next 10 years, I think you have an ongoing obligation to act at that time.
Bottom line is we're good to go if we have to change it.
Right.
Yes.
Now, you had said there was the law allows a deviancy somewhere between 43% and 5%, and I just want to know what on these two what the numbers
Commissioners,
are.
there's no what I would term, or the law would term, a white line with respect to that. Under Baker versus Carr, the one man, one vote, one person, one vote rule has been established by the Supreme Court under the U.S. Constitution. Kansas Constitution is similar. The statutes require that your districts be as equal and compact as possible, equal in population and compact. As I pointed out again, oddly enough, they don't have to be contiguous, but let's take that off the table. Exact balance is not required because since you can't split precincts, that might be virtually impossible to do. Generally, a deviancy under 5% is very, very safe. When you begin to go above 5%, the issue is, are you depriving individuals in any particular district the one person, one vote benefit that's guaranteed to them under the U.S. and Kansas constitutions? So you should try to aim for that balance between compactness and equality in the number of citizens within each district.
And what are the numbers between these two?
You can have this first map that we talked about was a little over 5%. In the second map, it was 7.9. Bill thought it was 12.3 between the lowest and the highest.
Oh, okay.
So
This first map that we discussed last week has
It's the closest. Yeah.
a much closer deviation between precincts than the second map that we have shown.
So that was your recommendation based on that?
Yeah.
That was mine. I certainly, we were more than glad to come up with this second map because, you know, of what Commissioner Culbertson brought up. And so, really and truly, I think both of these maps are fine. I just would not consider any on the wall. Because of the current, and I will say current, this first map is much closer in continuity between the precincts when it comes, or between the districts when it comes to population.
Okay. Question? Any more discussion?
No.
Jeff, do you have something?
Like I said before, the only reason I like the first map is because compaction is the number one thing you're supposed to look at. And combining people 35 miles apart, I don't think it's very compact.
Okay.
That's all.
Any other more comments? Okay, we need to get the discussion going. Which way should we go? Direction.
Well, it's on the agenda next week.
Yeah.
We need some direction on which map so that we can prepare the right resolution for your consideration.
Well,
That's why it wasn't.
I support the staff's recommendation. And
Mike?
Yeah, I support
Jeff?
Janet's.
I like map number 2.
Okay, Vicki?
I'm good with either one, but I would go with, if the staff recommends the first map, then
Yeah.
I'll go with it.
I totally understand where Jeff.
I do too, but
Where
based
Jeff's
on
coming.
staff recommendation.
Yeah, I totally understand where Jeff's coming from, but I like the first one because of the staff and something like that, even though I do look at that going up north like that. So if it's all right, the direction is they will
Either one is fine with me.
what number will bring back the first one for the original.
As long as you're representing the rural people
Yeah.
out in the county.
Yeah.
Really,
Okay, well then, I will prepare a resolution for the map that moves Alexandria into the 5th district and moves a precinct in Leavenworth City to the 1st. And truthfully, guys, those are the only 2 changes that are being made. And so that is just another plus, I feel, for the residents of the county not to have that confusion.
Yeah, I had several different people reach out to me, but it was split as to whether or not they would prefer to be moved into the 5th or the 1st district. I mean, as far as, people who lived in Alexandria Township. So I think it was kind of a toss-up for...
And it's probably, doesn't matter too much with commission districts, but I have shared the thought that both Alexandria and Tonganoxie share Union Fire.
Right.
Both that is in, both the townships. I know that Tonganoxie certainly responds to the fires in Alexandria. There's
they
some
have a fire
similarities.
station right across the road from
So
Alexandria.
that was another reason in looking at some of the services, why we came up with that also. So it wasn't just a random thought that we put together.
That put the County Road 30 all in Commissioner Stevens' district.
So get her done.
So get it done, Mike.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
Right. Jeff's been pushing that hard. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you very,
you for
very
all the
much
work you've
for
done. I know you've worked really
taking the
hard on
time
this.
to consider this.
Right,
Yeah.
and all the other things you're doing at the end of the year.
That's okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you and your staff.
Okay, need an executive session.
Well, I
You-
like the price of your skid loader. Did you check that this morning, what the final price was?
I assumed it was for 65,000.
71.5.
Ended.
I like that, because when it closed this bid,
Must have kept going, man.
There were
I
several
looked
things that
last
were over there
night.
on Purple Wave yesterday
Yeah.
that were going pretty decent.
Have that extension clause where if it bid in the last 15 minutes, it extends it. So
yeah, I watched it clear the end, but yeah, that's great news.
That's what I looked at last night.
We purchased it for $53,000 with the attachments that we had. We paid $63,000, we made $71,000. We pocketed $8,000 after 3.5 years.
Anyway, your chip spreader showed up. You're lucky there. Just in time for next year. Anyways. Then, are you ready for anything? I attended a retirement out at the Road and Bridge Department
Oh, yeah,
yesterday.
we
They
can
had a
do this
really
before we
nice
go executive. Go ahead, Doug. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, it's go ahead. That's the easy way to do it.
Yeah, I had a good turnout and a nice retirement. Had an employee retired 29 and a half years. You know.
Good time. Good
How
time.
long?
29 and a half. Tried to get him to go to 30, but he wouldn't do it.
That's done his time.
I don't blame him. Then one last winter he has to spend out there. Winter's hard on them guys.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
really is. And so we got it's all going. Anybody all going to Steve Jack's deal on Friday?
I am.
Okay. I plan on attending. It's on the agenda.
Yeah, it's on
We're
the-
safe.
Right.
And then Mayor Brewer's retirement, I guess we'll call it tonight. And then there's a Bayshore City Council meeting after that. I just think I'd like to recognize our elected officials that attend our meetings.
Yeah.
We have Leavenworth and Tonganoxie here.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen, for showing up and being a part of our meeting.
And don't throw tomatoes.
Okay, Mike. You got anything?
No.
Jeff?
I just want to tell you guys, the letter that we had received on the board for the flatland Easton landfill. So I've been working with some people on that. Next City of Easton council meeting, they're going to pass an ordinance for no jake brake signs that I got our county councilor to prepare for them. And then we worked with the owners. They're going to shorten their work hours from 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. Try that for a while.
Okay, now on the engine brake, you can put the signs on the state highway.
Yeah, we got special permission from KDOT
Okay.
representative.
Does that mean it's up by the
Hilltop
market too?
Since Hilltop's annexed in the city of Easton, it's like an island annexation.
Right.
We can put one there.
Okay.
And then another one we want to try to get the top of Crooks Hill, which is where they usually use it, but we have to put that one on private property, not on the KDOT right of way.
Okay.
So that's
And who enforces it?
Well, the county helps the city of Easton with their
So the sheriff's
law
department
enforcement,
could.
So, yeah,
Okay. All right.
is the thought. And then that's about it.
Vicky?
Well, I attended last evening's city commission meeting, and they swore in the new mayor, Kamala Leonhardt, so congratulations to her, and the mayor pro tem, who would be Jermaine Wilson, and then I think that was a nice thing. And then last week, the Workforce Partnership elected a new CEO person to lead the Workforce Partnership in a special meeting last Friday, and I think that's pretty much what I have.
Okay, I've got a few things. They will attend the Lansing American Legion Post Christmas dinner. Got to see a lot of folks out there and got to talk with them. Last night I attended the Leavenworth County Fire District meeting. Got to chat with those folks too. They put on a new firefighter. Got to see him be sworn in. Also, the past week I've met with City Minister Tim Vandal. Just information passing back and forth that we share with each other like y'all do with your areas. And the last thing I was going to just ask about, and if you don't want to, that's fine. There's a lot of good people in Leavenworth County, whether it's staff, or whether it's people who are elected, or whether it's people in the city of Leavenworth. And sometimes I think I like to recognize them besides proclamation. I've done this for years, and if y'all want to, you can. It's not much it costs. I'd like to develop a coin from Leavenworth County that on special occasions, when we do things, we can present them, whether somebody's retiring, whether somebody's leaving from post, whether somebody's, whatever the reason may be, that we can acknowledge them and they can have something to say, we really did appreciate what you did for us.
Like Fort Leavenworth does.
Yeah, and Lansing does it too. We started it 20 years ago. There's other places. It's just throwing it out there.
We're going to have an employee design it and then or have a competition. Whoever wins it, they get a day off or something.
We can sure do it that way.
Have the schools.
We've had schools that we've had anybody.
We could put JC on the head side of it.
Jeff. Does everybody have just throwing that out there? We could kick that.
No,
out.
I agree. I think we should have something.
Dave likes that idea.
Okay, Mark, Jeff. Mark, could you? It all flows downhill. Could you think about that? How we could get somebody or staff or schools or whoever design something like that for us?
We could have a project.
Okay.
Competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have one thing before I forgot to bring this up. I had a school board member from Baser Linwood approach me, and they're going to develop a letter about K32 speed near the new school. They're trying to get KDOT to reduce the speed at the school. So once they get their letter through the school board, I told them I would present it to the Board of County Commissioners, and if we could agree to send a letter of support. So just a heads up.
Okay, that won't be a school zone because the address is school zone in Stillwell?
I don't know the details.
I was going to say, if the school's address is on K32, wouldn't it automatically be a school zone?
I do not. All I know is I was contacted by a school board member. They want to.
Just during school hours.
There's a state statute, right, David, that sets those up for us all.
Yes,
School
and-
hours.
But I think calling the matter to the attention of KDOT would be appropriate.
I think the matter's already been called because they provided funding.
And I have one more thing, just as an announcement type FYI, the Alliance Against Family Violence has selected and has announced their new executive director, who will be Mike Trapp. And
I
met with him, and a very nice gentleman, and I think that we can look forward to some really exciting things that will be happening with the Alliance and their.
I think, Vicki, you get him up here later down the line when he gets, and just meet with the.
Sure.
I'm calling him right after this meeting.
I think
Okay.
we'll look forward to that because he's
Get
going to be a very
acquainted with everybody.
proactive.
That's good. Okay.
But on your letter, absolutely, I'd say get it up to us. We'll definitely, I'm sure, we can't speak for the board, but would support anything to support the school
Yeah.
district.
Yeah, but I think they're going to run it through their school board meeting, and then they'll get the letter.
Do we know an opening day on that school or a projected opening day?
I don't.
Anybody?
Okay.
Well, is the school going to be open before the road improvements are done? Does anybody know that? I would assume they are, but I don't like to assume. But anyways.
Okay.
There's just a heads up.
Right, well, I thank you for that, but I know we would support anything like that.
Doug, you want to take us in?
Okay, if we don't have anything else, I'll move that the board recess for a closed executive meeting for the discussion of potential litigation involving the legal interest of the county as justified by KSA 75-4319B2 for consultation with legal counsel for the board, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, and that the board resume meeting at 9:55 in the meeting room of the board. Present in the executive meeting will be Commissioner Culbertson, KAAZ, Mike Smith, Doug Smith, and Commissioner Mike Stevens, Senior County Counselor, and David Van PARYS, and County Administrator Mark LOUGHRY.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
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 Aye. We are heading to executive.
Let the record show the board has returned to regular session at 9:55. No action was taken. No decisions were made. The subject was limited to the legal interest of the county.
All righty. I think we've covered most of the business unless there's something else that someone needs to.
Oh, I was
Go ahead, Doug.
just wondering, do we give money to outside agencies. Do we get a year-end report on what they've done with their money, like on any projects for museums or historical societies or anything like that?
Commissioners, I think I'm going to say 6 months ago, Commissioner Mike Smith actually brought up developing a policy that requires not just the request, but some financial information from the agencies that are asking, and a follow-up accountability on the funds. At that time, the board did not decide to go forward with that. We do not currently require follow-up from the entities for their
I just thought it'd be interesting to see if the projects and things were completed. I know we've gotten a lot of reports in the past, not from everybody, but from some. I mean, Tonga Historical Society, they've done that. Basher has two, Basher Museum. I just thought it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I do remember that conversation about developing that. I'm not sure how it kind of ended. I think that's a good idea.
I think we probably should work something out.
Yeah, I think it's
I think it'd be nice to
And
get
some
a
accountability
I
things.
think, yeah.
I
You know,
mean, maybe
including
as
I'd be
time
asking
proceeds,
for
you
the-
can develop that.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, exactly.
Just-
Just accountability for us.
I'd be happy to develop a policy on the charitable contributions and the required accounting.
Okay.
I think it goes hand in hand with when we switch to the matching funds
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
well, and Linwood kept us up on their remodel when we gave them
Yeah.
$80,000 down there.
And it's nice. It's really nice.
Okay, is everybody okay with that?
I am.
Yep.
Mark? Oh, yours.
More
Any-
work.
Anything else, folks? Not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and second. Commissioner Smith?
All right.
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Culbertson?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.